I think we consumed like 30,000 calories over the weekend.
Cook, Turk. I don't give a cook 30,000 calories. Turk, right? Builder. Obviously, it's fun to do at the time. It feels good. But so is going on a bender. Hey, I followed my diet for 4 days. Then I went to Las Vegas, sniffed creatine, and partied for 3 days straight. Yeah, it's fun at the time, but eventually you're going to regret it. Coach Greg and the Tren twins, they've gone on a binge. Since the show, they've eaten 30,000 calories and gained 15 pounds. And remember, I always warn people about the dangers of rebounding after a show, and so clearly this is what happened. In the video, I'm going to go over, finally, we have both Mike and Chris's footage. I'm going to give you the detailed account of how they looked, as well as what are they in fact eating now.
Chris, it's time to shave my ass for the show.
And so after shaving more hair than last time, they're now getting their tans on and get ready to get up on stage. And so hopefully Coach Kyle doesn't call me a certain name for talking about the Tren twins shaving and getting a tan.
I didn't realize it's just all cock out in there. I don't want to put my shirt on now. I gained 10 pounds of lean mass with that shit.
And so first up, we have Chris, who's competing in classic physique. I think that is an excellent choice. You don't need as much size as in the open categories, and so it is in fact a lot healthier. Now, for a first-time competitor, he looks amazing. He managed to get second place, and to me, that is awesome. Now, in my previous video, I went very hard on the Tren twins. I said in comparison to trying to get a pro card, they are far off. They are not nearly lean enough. That is still true. But remember, I based this on the fact that a year ago, they had stated in a video going for IFBB Pro cards. And remember, when I coached them, this was in fact the goal.
So I've decided to blast hella gear and get literally huge and go for that IFBB.
Hell yeah, bro.
Now, I do believe that Chris is not in search of a pro card as hard as Mike is, but for all intents and purposes, he did amazing. He proved me wrong. I said they wouldn't make it to the stage. Not only did they make it to the stage, they won the novice class, and Chris got second in the open category against all of the classic physique guys, and so he did amazing. And so he, in fact, proved me wrong. They both proved me wrong. I'm the first to admit that I said they wouldn't get to the stage, and yet they did. And so I am wrong. They win. They were right. And so in looking at him in the novice class, it's a dominating victory. He clearly outclassed these guys, both in shape, size, conditioning. Everything was deserving of first place. Now, up in the open category, this is where the conditioning plays in. Overall, I prefer Chris's shape. I like the way his muscles look, but he's simply not lean enough. If he were a little bit leaner, he definitely would have gotten the first place vote. Also, notice the obliques, the muscles to the side. Over on the side, you can see just how lean he is. When you have crispy looking oblique muscles, in addition to the abdominals, it gives the waist an amazing look. The more conditioned you are, especially in abdominals, the better your physique is going to look. And in classic physique, it's all about the tiny waist, the sharp abdominals, and so that is why Chris did not win. And from the front, look at this guy to the right. Look at the detail of the quads, the cross striations. The guy is peeled. And so from the rear, you can see, look at the guy's hamstrings to the right. That is amazing detail. Chris does, however, to me, appear to have a better back. Now, Chris could hold his biceps up a little bit higher, get the peak above the size of the delt, and would give him more of that X frame. Could give him better V than last time. But if you look at Chris versus the man to his right, you can clearly see the guy to his right has much better quads. They're both bigger, leaner, and so that is perhaps why he was edged out in victory.
You know, I won some participation trophies. I mean, the novice class, come on. And now I gotta wait for Mikey to finish his shit so we can cook.
And so what I immediately noticed is the size of the quads, the hamstrings. Very, very impressive. Thick looking arms. However, he's lacking the detail, the crispness, the conditioning in the abdominals. That pose to the side you should see all of the details in the abs. I'm telling you, when you stand on stage and you are tight in the midsection, it makes the rest of your physique look that much better. And so Mike clearly has the size, 186 pounds. He stands 5'6". That is a very muscular man, especially for his first competition. You can see the size of the legs, the quads, the hamstrings, the biceps, and so on, but he's lacking detail in the abdominals. And so on that side tricep pose, if you can really nail it and show the obliques, you are going to stand out amongst everyone. And as he's doing the most muscular pose, you can see he does have detail in the quads. I see separation, but I don't see the cross striations. Now remember, for a first-time competitor, this is amazing. There's no reason to have to be leaner than this. But for a man looking for an IFBB Pro card, of course, he's going to have to dial it in just a little bit more. And I notice as he performs the thigh and abdominal, I can see the obliques on the side. So perhaps he has the conditioning, perhaps it's there, but perhaps he's just not posing properly. The first time you compete, it's very difficult to pose properly. I remember it took me perhaps 2 years before I could properly hit my poses. I didn't know what to do, I didn't know how to flex, and so this is going to come with practice. But if he were to diet for the next show, perhaps 1% leaner, come in and flex the abs harder than last time, it would immediately improve his poses. And from the back, I can see he has very thick hamstrings. Perhaps not as detailed as it could be, but they have a lot of size. And so that is an excellent base of which to work from. If you look at the lower part of the back, the lower lats area, you can see there is some skin folds at this area. This is indicative of the fact he could be a bit leaner, but remember, it's his first competition. And so within his category, you can see he's clearly the victor. And so he wins Novice and Open A, but up next comes the biggest challenge of all, the overall, the highlight of the competition. He makes it to the overall, but will he in fact come out on top? And so up next, the pose down, the most exciting part. I remember going for overall pose downs was the highlight of the competition. Could not wait. And check out the man to his right with the glasses. We got Grandpa. He appears to be 70 years old. He's shredded. And to the far left, another man with glasses. I've never in my life seen two men with glasses on stage at the same time. Perhaps they have to contact Mebstagram for laser eye surgery. In general, it's not recommended to have glasses on stage. I know it's important to see, but it is in fact distracting. I'm saying this as a judge. I was instructed when I used to compete never to wear your glasses. And so for the overall, it's very clear. It's between Mike, who wins the light heavyweight class, and the man in blue, 83, the heavyweight winner. And so what immediately draws my eyes to both of these men is the size and details of 83's quads. It is tremendous. The quads, superb. And so with the first pose, the thigh and abdominal, look at the zipper of the quads. Looks like a zipper. When people had legs lean enough, they would go like this, as in, check out the zipper. They'd shake the quads out and zipper it up. Shake the quads, zipper. Now remember, I'm Coach Greg in my studio. I'm not in contest shape, and so I don't have the quads of an IFBB Pro right now. And so number 83 has amazing quads. Mike also has great quads, but not to the level of the heavyweight winner. Also, heavyweight champion with the chest. Oh my goodness. You see the size of this guy's pecs? Unbelievable. With the vascularity rolling up the biceps. This man is shredded. Look at this guy. If you look at the most muscular, the detail and the size of the heavyweight winner in comparison to Mike, you can clearly see the heavyweight winner's got it. It is not even close. I would be surprised if he did not get all 5 first place victories. Now, Mike is saying he thought he should have won it. Now, oftentimes when you're competing, you're obviously biased towards liking your own physique. That is perfectly normal. Of course, you're rooting for yourself to win. And all your friends and family, they're going to watch a show and think, hey, you got it. They see your most impressive poses. And I do believe that Mike had better abs than the heavyweight winner, but overall, a big, tall guy is going to beat a big, short guy every single time. In particular, if that bigger, taller guy has more definition. And so I think the difference here overall was the conditioning. If Mike were truly peeled, perhaps 5% body fat, I think he would have won first place. The side chest pose, Mike has much bigger quads and hamstrings. Clearly edges him out in size, but it comes down to the detail. If you have all the size in the world, but you don't have the detail, you're not going to win. This happened to HDLT athlete Eric Janicki. And I know people are going to be mad. Oh, why are you talking about Eric Janicki? Well, the reason is because Eric Janicki was in fact huge, 254 pounds, and he desperately wanted his pro card. Of course he did. He trained so hard for it, but he was edged out to a smaller man because of the conditioning. But guess what he's doing? He's not letting him get that down. He literally posted some update photos to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, you already look so much better. And so when he competes for his pro card in another week, he's going to be mind blown shredded. None of this showing up close to perfect. He's going to be more perfect than last time. And so if Mike had a show in, for example, 2 weeks from now and continued to diet harder than ever before, for example, Eric Janicki said he's going to eat 1,800 calories. A guy is 6 foot tall, over 250 pounds, 1,800 calories a day. Imagine the conditioning he's going to get. And so bodybuilding, it comes down to the conditioning. Now, if you're at the amateur level for a first-time show, clearly this is amazing. Imagine winning the overall in your very first competition. That is a very daunting task. But if you're trying to get your IFBB Pro card, this is the kind of detail that you need in order to get that card. And so again, on that side pose, if Mike had those abs, if Mike had the obliques doing that side tricep pose, even my obliques, he doesn't have to be crazy peeled, 5% body fat. But if he had the obliques of Coach Greg and hit that pose, I do believe he's winning the overall. But because the obliques are a little bit softer, perhaps he's not twisting hard enough, perhaps he's not blowing out quite all of his air, it's just not enough to edge out the bigger, more shredded opponent. And so you can see in this pose, the taller athlete, he does in fact have some obliques. But of course he does. Who has quads like that? Who has chest that lean without having the obliques?
You got him! You got him! You got it!
And so I'm hearing in the background the crowd saying, you got him. But in reality, I'm looking at the quads and the detail and the size, and I simply can't give it to the light heavyweight competitor. Remember, I had flashbacks to being beaten by Antoine Vaillant at the 2012 overalls. I had won the light heavyweight class, and I was going for the overall against Al Dura, a future Olympian, as well as Zane Watson, also an Olympian, and Antoine Vaillant, also future Olympians. And on my mind, I'm thinking, I got it. I'm the leanest, I have the best shape, but yet in the overall, they gave it to Antoine Vaillant. And why? He had so much freaking muscle. 250 pounds of muscle, 6 feet tall against Coach Greg, 193. And so although I edged him out perhaps by a little bit in detail, the guy had so much more muscle, so much bigger quads that he was undeniable. And so if Mike continues to improve, gets in more shredded with more size, I'm certain eventually he will in fact win the overall. And so the overall winner, despite not having the best tan, he still wins the overall. And so Mike Israetel had said, you know, he lost because of his tan, yet this guy, he won with the worst tan. Now, if you think I'm biased, trust me, if I thought that Mike should have won the overall, I would have said Mike should have won the overall. I've done this plenty of times before. I believe that when I watched Jesse compete and get second, I said, hey, I think he should have got first. I believe the clickbait title was, Jesse didn't deserve this. And by that I meant he didn't deserve second place. He deserved first. We got over 1 million views. Why? Probably because of the title. Who knows? But what I do is I record videos and what I see, and you watch them. If you don't like this video, if you think I'm simply shitting on the Tren twins and I'm saying horrible things about them, then you just didn't watch the video. If you watched this video, you would see I gave an honest assessment of what I saw.
Bro, Mike was looking bubbly as
Kirk!
when you
Look, he's gas.
I've never seen I thought I had it for sure.
In the moment, you feel like you had it for sure. When you look at the tip, when you watch this video, you'll see Did the guy not edge you out in conditioning? Did he not edge you out in size? And so that is why he won. It takes nothing away from your own physique. This guy was, 7 years older, probably been taking performance-enhancing drugs for 10 years. This guy is a monster. He looked incredible. This would be a national-level competitor. This guy could go on to nationals, and although he's not nearly big enough and lean enough to win an IPV Pro card, he certainly looks very good. And so I'm here with Shira Rubin. She's been a judge for over 20 years, and I'm showing this footage to her for the first time. She's going to watch, we're going to pause, we'll see what does she think.
So right off the bat in the legs, I can see that the guy in the blue's got the striations on his quads. It's hard to see the guy in the red because he's darker. But right off the bat, it's the first thing I noticed.
And so remember what I said earlier? The legs, they popped out. And so unbelievable. The guy in the blue clearly has dominant quads. Yeah. Okay, here's our most muscular.
Yeah, even the upper body, I can tell right off the bat that the guy in the blue is way leaner than the guy in the red. Right off the bat.
And so I'm hearing way leaner. And so I'm hearing bigger legs, way leaner. What about the size of the two competitors overall?
I mean, his lower body looks bigger than his lower body. But I mean, he overall, the guy in the blue definitely stands out. Like my eyes drawing to him.
And so when you're judging it overall, you're looking at who overall stands out more. And so based on what you're seeing,
yeah, the guy in the blue, right off the bat. But now
it's the guy in the blue right off. And so when people are saying it's close, in my opinion, remember, perhaps I'm biased. I don't think I am. To me, the blue won hands down.
Yeah, I can even see from the side profile right off the bat, he's got way more striations right up to his glutes. This guy's smooth in his glutes. The shoulder pops out. He's way smoother, the guy in the red.
So it's mostly the smoothness. Now, my opinion, I looked at this and I said that Mike, the guy in the red here, had bigger legs and hamstrings, but he didn't have the same cuts.
No, exactly. Right off the bat, the first thing I noticed.
And so do you think that if this guy in the red got leaner, he could perhaps have won?
Yeah.
And so there you have it, guys. Yeah. I said, I'm giving my unbiased opinion. I have another qualified judge, still judges to this day, been judging for over 20 years. She's saying the same thing as me. And so you say, I don't know what I'm talking about. We now have two qualified judges saying the exact same thing.
What are we doing?
We breaking the fast with this or crumble?
Better than crumble? Bro.
And so now begins the 30,000 calorie cheat. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not putting words into their mouth. I'm saying what they said. This is the living nightmare that occurs following a bodybuilding show. After you've been deprived for several weeks, months, or in this case, 20-week diet, I do believe it was, it's hard to put the fork down. It's hard to stop. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat the foods that you want, that you've been craving for all this time, but you have to be very careful. And in my opinion, it's all about moderation. One thing you never want to do, of which they are going to do, is to order all the foods that you've been craving and to have them all in the house. This is a huge mistake. I've been speaking about this for close to 20 years. And why do I say that? Because I've done it. I've lived it. I've made those mistakes.
Bananas and peanut butter.
Oh my god.
No.
Holy shit.
Man, what is this, churro?
It's churro cheesecake.
Churro caramel cheesecake.
Yep.
And so look Kyle in the background. And remember, they pinned a comment and said, look, he didn't condone this. He didn't want us to eat all this. But what can he do? Perhaps try to slow them down a little bit, but remember, it's on the athlete. Athletes, if you're watching this, competitors, this is probably going to happen to you. After the competition, you're going to be craving so much junk, it's going to be very hard to stop. I've seen so many people develop an ED from dieting for competition, visiting the bathroom to do number 3, oftentimes leading up to the competition, and it's not good. It's very dangerous. It's a slippery slope.
Right in my face.
Why didn't you get 2 boxes?
And so they have 2 boxes of this stuff. I mean, perhaps have 1 each, maybe 2, maybe even 3. But do we need to have 2 boxes?
I can't let it go to waste. That's unreal. I'm gonna throw up though.
I'm telling you, and I'm not doing this to shit on them. I'm trying to warn you. All of you guys out there who are competitors or ending a diet, if you start eating in a calorie surplus to this extent following a diet, you're going to undo all the work that you put in. It isn't a speed eating competition. His name isn't Matt Stoney.
You didn't have any? That's crazy.
Oh my god. Want coconut?
I'm like,
Yeah, pina colada.
Now, Coach Kyle and his significant other, they're having each perhaps 1, maybe 2. There's nothing wrong with that. That is exhibiting control. It's all about balance.
I probably consumed 6 cookies, 6 donuts, 2 pieces of fudge,
One muffin.
Each of those things has a ton of calories. These are not low-calorie items. They perhaps average 400, 500, maybe even more calories each. And so based on some quick math, they're perhaps at 7,000 calories or more in a matter of minutes. Perhaps giving Matt Stoney a run for his money.
I'm still hungry. I'm about to have about 50 pieces of sushi, a Wagyu steak. Let's see what we got, man.
But yet, they're still hungry. Off to now go eat some sushi and some Wagyu steak.
I'm beyond full. Why am I going in for a bite? I don't know.
We're going to pop.
This is gluttonous.
I've often told my clients the real diet starts following the competition, and they're thinking, what do you mean? I mean, once the floodgates open, it's very hard to turn them off. And so if you eat, for example, 5,000 or 10,000 calories the first night following the competition, and then you get up and you keep eating and you keep eating, it's very difficult to stop. Sooner or later, you're up 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds in a matter of 1 or 2 weeks following the competition. I've seen it. It's horrendous. It's very dangerous. And so please be careful.
I should have just did this 8 weeks out. I would have never cheated again.
Nothing could be further from the truth. If you did this at 8 weeks out, trust me, at 7 weeks or 6 weeks out, you'd have wanted to do the same thing. You can't just have a big cheat and think, yeah, I got it out of my system now. I heard them say this at the start of their diet. They were in their car, they had a box of crumble, and they split a dozen. I believe it was 6 each. I'm going to get it out of my system. It wasn't out of your system. Does this look like it wasn't out of your system? And the camera zooms into Coach Kyle. Clearly, you can't eat this way 8 weeks out. If you eat 10,000 calories in one evening, that's basically 4 days of eating. You can't eat 4 days of food in one day and not expect to gain weight.
So yeah, we're back home. Before we even arrived to our house, we're already up 15 pounds.
What have I been telling you? I've been warning you. People are just like, Coach Reg, you're such a party pooper. You're such a negative Nancy. Yeah, somebody has to say it. Somebody has to warn you of the dangers of competing.
The whole prep, I just ordered a bunch of shit that I was craving. Like protein muffins, hummus fit, pancakes, French toast.
This is one thing you never want to do. You never want to load up on all the junk food that you have been eating. It's now in the house. Every time you walk to the kitchen, it's going to be right there in front of your face. It would be equivalent to being an alcoholic who decided to go dry, and every time they go in the kitchen, they see a shot of whiskey, rum, vodka, and a beer. And you just have to say no. Eventually, your willpower is going to run out. Now, sure, there's alcohol at the bar, at the liquor store, and so on, but you're in your house. It takes work to go get it.
Yeah, I think we consumed like 30,000 calories over the weekend.
Cook, Turk! I don't give a cook 30,000 calories. Turk, right? Builder! Obviously, it's fun to do at the time. It feels good. But so is going on a bender. So is doing what Togi does. Hey, I followed my diet for 4 days, then I went to Las Vegas, sniffed creatine, and partied for 3 days straight. Yeah, it's fun at the time, but eventually you're going to regret it.
This is the process, baby. We got everything lined up. We're starting in bulk, baby.
Started the bulk. They've almost nearly completed it. 15 pounds already? Really?
I've never done a proper bulk. I've learned so much about bodybuilding at this point that I think I can literally put so much muscle on my frame if I do this correctly.
I don't know if they don't understand what a proper bulk is, but a proper bulk isn't eating a bunch of crumble. It's not force-feeding calories. It's not eating more calories than last time. It's not getting big and fat. They were properly bulked in the past. Trust me, I coached them. They began their prep at roughly 18 to 20% body fat. That is a bulk. I tell people all the time, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, off-season, 12 to 15%. And so if they think they're just going to shove in crumble every single weekend, eat as many calories as possible, eat all the junk food in the world, that is not a proper bulk.
We got PRs every week, man, and we're going to have cheat days every week.
I'm not sure if you're just going to be putting clinics at crumble, eating so much cookies, and setting PRs on the bench, because here's the honest truth. You will, in fact, get a lot stronger following a competition. You're gaining more weight, you're going to be a lot bigger. But once the PDs trickle out of your system and you go off of the gear, your lifts are not going to be all that strong. Unless, of course, you're still blasting in the off season, which I don't recommend. But perhaps you're just going to be doing HRT doses. I'm not your coach. I don't know what you're going to be doing. But you can expect to lift world records if you're actually going off cycle.
Weekly cheat days, weekly PRs. We're going for that 600-pound bench.
We're living life, dude.
So they're going for a 600-pound bench. They're going for weekly PRs, weekly cheat meals, eating more food than last time. You got to be careful. I would hope they don't go above 15% body fat at the absolute most, but based on what I'm seeing right now, going for a 600-pound bench, I do believe that's going to involve steroids and eating a lot of food and being at an excess body weight. I don't think that the Tren twins are going to be able to bench press 600 pounds at perhaps 220 pounds or lighter. I believe they may in fact overeat calories, they may in fact get their body fats a little bit too high, and it makes it that much harder to diet next year. Now remember, I care about their health. You can believe me, you can not believe me, whatever. I don't want them to do abusive doses of steroids in the off season. I don't want them to bulk harder than last time. I don't think that it's healthy to keep pushing more food. And if you try to gain too much muscle too quick, the physiques, they start to change. The abdominals are going to get bigger. The waistline is going to change. It's not going to be a very good look.
I'm on the edge of diabetes, actually.
Yeah, we're gonna take. We kind of went overboard this weekend.
And so that's being realistic. On the edge of diabetes, if you continue to push gear, continue to push food, sugar, crumble, and so on, it's not good.
I love you, Kyle, very much.
I hope that every person in their life finds someone that can help them. Like, he literally took us in for like 3 weeks into his home.
And so they literally admitting, look, we don't have the best track record of being the best clients, but Coach Kyle, he brought us into his home for 3 weeks. He told us, stop being fat pieces of shit, stop eating this, stop eating that. And so they made it to the stage, and they say a lot to do with it was in fact Coach Kyle. Looking for blood work to stay healthier than last time, or of course, Turk Builder or GO2 Max, especially in the off season. Try to keep as many gains as possible, or if you're 100% natural, take your training to the next level. More energy, better pumps, greater muscle building. And so interested in any of the harder than last time supplements, code Greg, 15% off. Click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you in fact liked it. Watch one of those two bloops, the cookbook as well as the Circle diet book. Head over to my website, and if you don't have any money, that's okay. You get the free diet and training program. That's right, it's free. It's close to 50 pages. Join the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. And until next time, I am out.